Hi, you're on the Alice Reddit Stories channel. Subscribe to my channel as well as my Facebook page. There we can chat. The link is in the description of the video. Thank you. Enjoy watching. Story 1. Biggest regret of my life was M24. As a kid, I'd always watched cheating wife/GF porn and it really turned me on. I had this fantasy of catching my future GF or wife with another man in bed. Later on I came to know about this thing called cuckolding. Then in 2019 I met my girlfriend, F20 then. She was a decent, studious kinda girl. She was definitely smarter than me. I wouldn't say she was a 10, but she had a cute face, wore specs, and had an amazing body. She had her kinks, but it was not as crazy as mine. One day, while making love, I brought this cuckolding topic up to her to see what would be her reaction. She laughed it off the first time, but after I repeatedly tried bringing this up, she scolded me and told me she'll stop talking to me. So I didn't bother her again. This year, during the month of February, she told me that there's a guy in her university who really likes her and wanted to take her out on Valentine's. This guy was a really good looking. I stalked him on Instagram, 'cause I was feeling insecure, and found out he was a 6 feet tall powerlifter, but told me she didn't like him at all and that he was very arrogant. She was lying. I teased her about all of it, calling her by his name and stuff, not knowing how into him she already was. Then on March one day she suddenly brought up this topic of cuckolding, and do I still think about it? At that time, out of sheer excitement, I didn't think it through and told her I still fantasize about her having hardcore passionate sex with another man. Preferably better looking or hung than me. She, to my surprise, said she might fulfill my fantasy. I was feeling happy but at the same time scared, because thinking about this is something and it actually happening in real life is something else. She asked me who I thought would be the perfect guy for the job, and I took that guy's name from her university as a joke. She said yes without any hesitation, and at that time I just laughed and teased her even further. I challenged her if she had the guts to go ahead and fuck him. 3 days later, Wednesday, she told she's been talking to him the last couple of days and spending time together after classes too, hence why she was always late, but was scared of bringing up this topic with him. I was surprised at how into this she suddenly was. I advised her, instead of telling him about the cuckolding thing, just pretend you are cheating on me. Saturday morning she told me that this guy wanted her to spend time with her. She asked me for my permission and I gave her the green light. We both knew what was about to happen. I was scared and jealous, but the fact that my fantasy was about to come true made me ecstatic. I asked her, since she couldn't tell about the cuckolding, could she at least record it secretly so I could watch it later, but she told me it was literally a criminal offense to do so, and I told her she was right. Following night she didn't receive any of my calls, which actually turned me on. I was fantasizing about how good he must be fucking her, probably without any protection, and masturbated thrice that night. Next morning she didn't receive any on my calls either, so I got a little worried. I thought about calling her roommate, but she thought my GF was with me, so I didn't want to spook her or something. Around 1 p.m. she texted me she was fine and just didn't have to look at her phone. I asked if she wanted to meet and talk about it, but she told me it's Sunday, so she might spend some more time with him. I was angry at this point, because this was not what I had agreed to and imagined going down in my mind, but at the same time couldn't tell her anything because I thought she was only doing this for me. She came back home late and we didn't really talk about it over the phone. I thought it was better to talk about this in person. Next day I met her and asked her about it, but she kept refusing. We went back to my place and I kept nagging her about it. She got very angry and told me he was way bigger than me and cummed inside her so many times she lost count and enjoyed every second of it. TBH, I was devastated to hear that, and after that almost everything went in a downward spiral. We stopped talking for a few days. She stopped returning my texts, and when I inquired about her with her roommate she told me my GF was staying at her aunt's place for a few days, which I knew. was BS, and that really hurt me. We stopped talking after that for a long time cause I gave up on her TBF. I do feel I'm more to blame, but at that time I was only blaming her. On November 2nd, her birthday, I wished and told her I hope she is happy with him. She couldn't help but cry and apologize. She came over the next day, and I told her I was sorry to put her through this. She was honest and told me she was with him for the past several months, told me that it meant nothing with him and they don't even talk anymore. We are back together now, stronger than ever. But the recurring images of her making love with someone else still hurts. I feel like maybe it hurts me even more is because of the fact that the guy is genuinely better than me in a lot of ways, and that if things would have worked with him she would probably never come back to me. Every time I see her smiling at her phone or her not returning my calls or texts, I get anxious. So yeah, if I could go back in time and change this, I definitely would. I believe cuckolding is not for everyone, so be wise and very careful. Don't forget to support my channel by subscribing, thank you. Story 2. 7 days after my son was born, I found out my BF of 2+ years was cheating. 7 days after I, F29, had my son, it came out my BF, M31, of more than 2 years has been talking to many women online and exchanging pics and paying for sugar babies our whole relationship. In August he started 2, that I know of, very intimate relationships where they even talked about me and my pregnancy. One of the women he ended up sleeping with twice. While I was pregnant with our son he did that to me. He even sent her a pic of our son the night he was born. I'm fucking devastated. I'm broken. Nothing feels real. The only reason I can function is for my son. He broke it off with this person and the others he was talking to and deleted all the avenues of contact. He claims he has a porn addiction and that's why he habitually talks to women on dating sites, and it makes him feel good and more confident to pay these women to talk with him and send him pictures and videos. He says this one woman is the only woman he's slept with and he wishes he could take it back. He's going to go to therapy and wants to stay together. I told him he needs to tell his mother what he's done today. I want her to know I'm not cracking because of PPD, it's because of this. Because of him. This man was my rock. I was looking at him in awe of how amazing he was, how much he loved me and our son, and how he was taking such great care of us. My whole world has been shattered. Everything about carrying and giving birth to my first and only child has been tainted by the cheating. The realization that I was actually alone for this whole process. This man was giving the best parts of himself away to another woman while I struggled mentally and emotionally to carry his kid for 9 months, and I praised him like he was the best, most attentive partner ever. The way he looked at me with so much love in his eyes and held me while I was giving birth means nothing now. Because he turned right around and sent the other woman a picture of my fucking son and talked about when they'd meet up next. He says shortly after our son was born was when he knew he needed to stop because he wanted to be with me. He says he's been doing shit like this since before we got together, and it's not because of me, it's because he feels lonely and not worthy, and he's been struggling with it for a long time. Not a new mom me would already be gone, but this me today doesn't know what to do. I love him so much, but how I could overcome this without ditching all my self-respect. How I could let the messages and pictures go from my head. How would I ever trust him again? He's removed all the locks and codes from his phone and computer and shares passwords and his location with me now. But I don't want to be that person. I don't want to feel fucking crazy. This is the worst I've ever felt in my life. I can't believe my best friend did this to me. I can't believe I'm struggling through being a new mom and dealing with the betrayal of his father. I just got my family and it's destroyed. TLDR, my boyfriend claims his porn addiction led to him having sex with another woman while I was 8 and 9 months pregnant. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, there are a lot of interesting stories ahead of you.